me, Renee. I'm back. So I read this book a few weeks ago now, and you know what? I kind of thought of doing a book review of it, and then I kind of forgot, and then I thought, you know what? I'm gonna do it. And yeah, most of the time I just kind of mention books in tags, or like I mention books in TBRs. I don't often do one video and one book, but sometimes I do them, and now I wanted to do it. So yeah, Pennyroyal, uh, Pennyroyal Academy by M.A. Larson. So I think I had slightly heard of it before I read it, but like not much. But I think I had like when I started reading it, I think like for like I already knew slightly that it existed, but I didn't really know much about it. So yeah I found it randomly at at a library and just thought, you look nice, interesting. So yeah, I bought it. And yeah, sometimes I just kind of love finding things at your library or in your book in a bookstore that's not really very much on your radar, but like yeah, it surprises you. And honestly, also for me, it kind of is a bit difficult because I'm very much in the booknet, in the book world. Like, I have Bookstagram now. I've been on BookTube for a few years. I pay attention on what's new books. I read lists of books that are coming out and whatnot. I work in a bookstore, so like I know very much of like a lot of books. Like if people like, talk to me and say like, "Oh yeah, this book is coming out," do you know? And I'm like, "Yeah, I know for a long time." You know, this book is coming out. Yeah, I know for a long time. Did you know this book has just come out? Like, yeah, I know. I mean, a lot of the book news things, I kind of know immediately. Not immediately, but like, yeah, a lot of it I know. But yeah, Pennyroyal Academy. It wasn't very much on my radar, so yeah, it was kind of fun to pick up and enjoy it. And in case you don't know what this is, Pennyroyal Academy is the first in a trilogy. It's the first. It's not a fairy tale retelling per se. It's more like a fairy tale. I would say maybe fairy tale remix or like yeah, I would say fairy tale remix because it's more about like it's yeah because they mention Cinderella, they mention Snow White, but it's not like any of the characters, at least in the first book that we know, are like those characters. It's more like they're in the background, so it's in a world where those characters exist. It's in a world where you have dragons, you have knights, you have princesses. So yeah, you kind of have the same kind of thing. I suppose in a way it's kind of like Shrekky. It's like it's in a world with fairy tales, you know, but like with new characters because Shrek isn't really a fairy tale character. Well, I mean he is like he's not an established one. He's not from Horse Anderson. He's not from the Brothers Grimm. He's a new character. So yeah. But yeah, I would say this is a middle grade story. Though I would say maybe it's more like I would say maybe it's more like 11 to 12, 13 than like a 9-year-old because I feel like sometimes middle grade you talk about middle grade books as like 9 to 13, and I feel like this is more upper middle grade because at parts is quite scary. But I suppose yeah, I mean there are 9-year-olds who are tough and who don't mind being scared and stuff, but yeah, I suppose yeah. And also it's not like it's not a thin book, so I suppose depending on how your reading fluency is, that's yeah, who you should pick up, who should pick up this book. So yeah, I am 30, well, 31 this year, and I enjoyed it very much. So it's not like you have to be have to be 12, 13, 11 to enjoy this book. But I mean, that's kind of the age range where it's meant for. And yeah, so let's get to the book itself. So yeah, yeah. So mainly, I love this book. I have two gripes that I'll get to, like while I'm talking about it, and yeah. So it starts like pretty quick. It starts with the main character, with the girl, main character. I say the girl and she because you'll soon understand why. But yeah, so the main character, she's running for the woods. She's kind of like, yeah, she's running for the woods. She's been running for a long time. She's tired. Yeah, she describes being exhausted, but she's kind of thinking, okay, I have to run, run, run. I'm just have to keep on running. And as I reading, you're kind of thinking, what's happening? What are you running from? What's the danger? But you do sense that there's some sort of danger, and that this character has been running and hiding for at least some time. And then she sees a little house. No moment. She's been running for a while. She's tired, and she sees this house in the woods. A house looks. It's not a big house. It's a small house, but she kind of thinks, okay, I can go inside here. I can knock on the door. I can go inside and try to get some shelter from where I'm hiding from and what have you. She goes. She knocks on the door. No one opens the door. She thinks, okay, I'll just go inside and be inside for a while. Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot to say this. While she was outside, it's been raining and windy, so she kind of needs to, like, she very much wants to get inside and get dry and yeah, relax a bit. So she goes inside the house. Quickly, she kind of looks like the house. Okay, it looks a bit run down. It's not a house that's kind of very taken care of. And she kind of thinks, hmm. And then she sees someone comes in, and it's the owner of the house. It's an old lady. Well, she usually goes, it's not an old lady. It's not just an ordinary old lady. It's a witch. And in this world, witches are mean, creepy, and dangerous. So it's kind of, I suppose, stereotypical witch, but yeah, it's a witch. And the witch has with her a human boy around the girl's age, so 12, 13, what have you. And the boy is, he's, what's the name again? He is captured, like he's tied together, his hands and feet, and it's soon kind of obvious that the witch is kind of about to eat him. Things happen, and the girl that we follow rescues the boy, and they run away together. And then he asks her, "Thank you for helping me. What's your name?" And she says, "I don't really have a name." Yeah, that's kind of why I have just said she, because yeah, in the beginning the main character doesn't have a name, which gripe number one. We'll just put a pin in that for now, and I'll just talk about the gripe in detail later. But yeah, so then the main character, she kind of talks like she has a goal. She kind of wants to find this place, and she has a paper uh, in her in her pocket. She shows the boy her paper, and it's a picture of a castle, and it's kind of like the castle they're recruiting princesses. So like it's this like princess school where you can go to a school and you might be a princess, and yeah, it's a whole to do with that. And the boy says, like, I'm going here, you can go to me. Okay. So they go together, and yeah, he goes to the night school, that's close by the princess school, and she goes to the princess school. And turns out that this is the first year that where girls of not royal blood can go to this princess school. So it's a bit of a like class system, like, why are you here? You don't leave, you're just a poor person, why should you be here? And there's like a bit dealio around that. And yeah, pretty soon, and she get asked like, "What's your name? Well, who's your family?" And she still says she doesn't have a name. So but yeah, of course they have to call something. So they give her a name Cadet 11 because I think she was 11 line or something, like she was just something like that. But yeah, on the first day she meets a friend. Luckily, Eugene, she gets a friend. And the friend says like, well, you can't go around being called 11. I'm going to call you Evie. So she's called Evie from then on. And so then you kind of have trials of tribulations of this princess school. You have you have Evie learning about this princess school, but also like learning about the stuff you didn't know about. And like for the first, I would say half of the book, yeah, maybe the first quarter of the book from a long time, we as the reader don't really know so much really about Evie either. We just know that there's something she doesn't really know much that the other characters know. She's very much an outsider, very much on the outside. But we don't really understand why. We don't really get an explanation why. And then halfway into it, we get explanation. Turns out that Evie was raised by dragons. So it's like, okay, interesting. That's cool, cool. Of course, I mean, she was raised by dragons, so she was raised by dragons. So in this world, while most people think the dragons are evil, some dragons are nice because they raised this little human girl. So yeah, you start to like sense that this book is kind of like about how things aren't really, not really black or white. And yeah, I really much love stories that talk about that. But yeah, the dragon thing. Let's put a pin on it. But yeah, so that's kind of why she's like doesn't really know stuff that other people knows because she wasn't raised in the human world. So that's why she's so unfamiliar with a lot of stuff. And yeah, I very much enjoyed this book. As well, I wouldn't really talk about this if I didn't. I would say it's a book about finding yourself, but also understanding that things, as I just said, isn't black and white. Like just because you are rich doesn't mean you're nice. Just because you're poor doesn't mean you're stupid. Just because just because your family is like this doesn't mean that the whole family is like this. I mean, you are who you choose to be, not just like who people see you as. Like it's about choices. That's yeah. Like for example, being a princess is not about being a title. It's about what you do. Like yeah, they kind of. I suppose like they call it a princess school. I would say it's more like a leader school in a way because like they're teaching them leader abilities like diplomacy, uh, being kind, gentle, and mm, caring and generous and stuff like that. Not just like being like, ha ha, I'm a princess, I'm married to a prince, I can laugh something, something. No, it's not like, yeah, they have to like mm, be, yeah, kinder, uh, kind of things really. Feel like, yeah, courageous, and you have to be courage, and it's not more about being beautiful. It's about what you're on the inside, which yeah, it's just a uh, great message, really. At least I think so. Uh, and also beautiful cover, I would say. It's a first in a trilogy. I have not read the other books yet, but I do want to read soon. Reese Witherspoon has bought the options. She bought the options back in like 2012, so nothing's happened. Hopefully, things can still happen. I mean, sometimes things are just slow in Hollywood because I feel like this, yeah, honestly, I feel like it could just be an amazing TV series or movie. It would just, yeah, be so cool. And yeah, now, yeah, kind of talked about how I don't enjoy it. Yeah, it had twists and turns. It's funny. It's full of cliffhangers, but full of great world building. It has a beautiful map at the beginning, which, yeah, gotta love maps. Yeah, it has so many good things to recommend this book. But yeah, let me just get through the gripes that I talked about in the beginning. So, firstly, yeah, uh, she kind of mentions over again that she doesn't have a name, even though I mean, turns out that Eva she's 14, so she's lived for 14 years. And yes, she was raised on dragons. And like she had a dragon mom and dad and dragon sister. And like she mentioned talked about her mom and dad and her sister, but she never mentions names. It's like okay, so like I don't know, it just bugs me because like even though like yes, dragons they're different, they're not humans, they're different species, I suppose maybe they have different cultures and stuff. But like, even if they don't have like human name, shouldn't they have like a dragon name? Like, how do you can't live for 14 years without a name? Like, I suppose you could live for 14 years without an official name, but at least you should like be called. Uh, because I feel like she could have at least like if the author just said like I don't have I have a weird name or like with main character like saying like my name is not the normalest one, or it's a weird name. I suppose she could like said call me, and then she can make up a name at the a jumper hat, but she didn't really do that. Like she got a name, someone else gave her a name. But yeah, she kind of liked that name. She grew into it, but like still, like how can you live 14 years without a name? I could understand like maybe you could have said like she has a dragon name, but it's too difficult for humans to pronounce. But shouldn't she like have a nickname or like something? But it's just kind of mentioned like she doesn't have a name. Like what? To me, it's just baffling. I mean, you have lots of books here and there where characters have lots of nicknames or have lots of names that you go by, like the family calls them, and the friends call them something else. And yeah, that's fun, cool. I really like that trope. But a main character having no name for 14 years, it yeah, it just baffles me. It's just very very weird. I would say quite weird. Then again, I have just read the first book, and like the first book didn't really talk about that much about her early years. So much really was more focused on the present and like the future. So maybe the second book gives more insights here, like gives more backstory. That could be fun. Hopefully that happens. I don't know. Maybe that happens. But yeah, that annoyed me because what no name at all. It was just baffling, baffling, so very baffling. And gripe number two, yeah. So after a while, we understand that she grew up with dragons, a dragon family. I mean, at the end, it kind of gets a reveal that there's more to it than that. But like, that's kind of like she has lived with dragons for many years. It's never mentioned how they communicate. Does she communicate with the dragons telepathically? Do they communicate by hand signs? Do they communicate by uh, do they have like a dragon language? Do the dragons speak the human language? Because like yes, it is a really great book, but like it's kind of established that I mean, this is a big world with lots of kingdoms and stuff, and like they have a bit of different cultures and stuff. So I would assume they probably have different languages as well. But still, I mean, it's never mentioned how she could interact with a dragon adoptive family. It's never explained, and it annoys me so much. Yes, I suppose it shouldn't be know that much because it's a story with dragons and magic and whatnot. But yeah, I don't mind like dragons being able to talk or whatnot. But if you just at least mention, have like a line of like, yes, me and my dragon family, we communicate this way. Or like someone talk asks her like, how did you communicate? And she answers. It's that easy. It doesn't have to be that hard. Apparently the author thought it was hard. I don't know. I don't know why that wasn't really mentioned and it annoyed me quite so much. But yeah, but I mean, it just kind of sounds like I'm so against the book. Mainly, I love this book so much. I just had those two big gripes with it. But yeah, I loved it very much. I suppose that's why I'm doing a video. I wouldn't do a video if I didn't love it. And yeah, if you like middle grades, if you like fairy tale stories, ish stories, check out this book. And yeah, if you read this book, talk to me in the comments. If you like middle grade books and think it sounds cool, check it out. Or maybe just recommend me a middle grade book in the comments. You can do that. And yeah, see you soon. Bye.